calls for a lifeline. Producers ask for help in coping with drought conditions. Putting ag in motion, Western Canada's largest outdoor farm expo draws people from across the country and around the world. And an emergency situation, how rural shortages are impacting patient care.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. Some producers in southwestern Saskatchewan say this is the worst severe drought they've seen in decades. As Wayne Mantika reports, it's prompting calls for the province to make changes to its ag assistance programs.
Fields are extremely dry in many parts of southwest Saskatchewan. Producers say there was virtually no rain until recently, and what rain may be in the forecast is too late to save crops. Government officials met with producers last week. The official opposition will tour the area this week to receive input on what additional assistance is needed.
You know, if you look at the Southwest, is utter devastation caused by drought.
The RM of Big Stick has declared a state of emergency due to extreme drought. It's the 9th year in a row that the area has been dealing with dry conditions. The RM took the action to get the government's attention and to begin conversation about better financial assistance programs.
Our whole insurance program it was designed, I believe, in 1961, and it's still based on the same principles it was back then, but farming has changed dramatically over that period of time.
The opposition is calling on the government to make early decisions on additional assistance.
Producers need to be involved in building out those programs. They need some urgent support now, and they need to know what structures are going to be in place so they can make very challenging decisions with respect to their farm operations.
Some producers say current crop insurance programs are not enough to cover their expenses. They say their situation is dire, and they would like to know what can be expected from the province. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Western Canada's largest farm expo, Ag in Motion, is officially underway in Langham. John Flatters has more on what people are talking about at this year's event.
More than 600 exhibitors, vendors, and businesses have descended on Langham for the 11th edition of Ag in Motion, and it continues to grow.
Well, Saskatchewan's a big place, and the prairies are even bigger. So I think this show can continue to grow if that's what the industry is wanting.
O'Connor says farmers today are looking at the evolution and improvement of their jobs. He says 15 or 20 years ago, GPS was considered cutting edge.
You'll see lots of sensor-driven equipment here, using satellite images or drone images. Lots of science that goes into farming now that 20 years ago just wasn't there.
Members of the provincial government on the grounds, including Farmer and Agriculture Minister Jeremy Harrison.
It's got to the point now that it's an X on the calendar for a lot of people. They're marking it, and they're making it their destination spot for their summer ag tour.
He says in conversations with other farmers, the live demos put this event in its own category.
I think farmers want to come together. They want to see what's new, what's being manufactured new, what's new in technology, what's new in research. Having the plots and the equipment and the field demonstrations all in one location is what they want to see.
Along with the booths, companies have plots where they can take customers on test drives.
We've got about 40 acres, and we bring people out to not only see the units around the booth here, but actually go to the field and see it while it's going live in the fields.
With Ag in Motion running until Thursday, it's also a chance for companies to unveil new products. John Flatters, CTV News, Langham.
Additional resources have arrived in Saskatchewan to help fight wildfires, and more are on the way. The Saskatchewan Protective Services Agency says 40 firefighters from Australia are in the province, with another 40 from Mexico joining the fight later this week. Last week, 100 wildfire personnel and 2 aircraft arrived from Quebec. 9 communities are under an evacuation order tonight, and 50 wildfires are currently burning. 12 are not contained. The bullfire in Prince Albert National Park is expected to spread due to weather conditions. Parks Canada providing an update late this afternoon saying the fire is out of control and has the potential to grow. While there is no immediate threat to public safety in the Waskesiu area, that could change quickly. Waskesiu is currently under a pre-evacuation order, which officials say could become a full evacuation order if weather conditions create more challenges.
And we know this is a very difficult time for people. What we think it's what's best is people have all the information. So fire's not close enough to put on evacuation alert at this time. And yet we wanted to use the first step, which is meant to communicate out that it's possible that it could happen in the coming days.
The bullfire is estimated to cover about 33,900 hectares of land. Wildfire smoke is once again affecting air quality in parts of Saskatchewan. Environment Canada triggered an air quality alert for Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Swift Current earlier today. In some areas this morning, the air quality health index reached level 10, which is considered very high risk. Tiny smoke particles can get deep into lungs and pose serious health risks, especially for seniors, children, pregnant women, and anyone with respiratory issues like asthma. Environment Canada forecasts the air quality to improve into tomorrow. Well, Jeff, it definitely felt a lot cooler out there today with all that smoke.
It really makes a big difference in terms of how things feel. Obviously, the smoke blocks out a whole lot of that radiant heat from the sun, so it makes a big difference. Not making a big difference is of this rain that's generally speaking in the northern states and the extreme southern part of Saskatchewan, and we are waiting on a secondary system, but it still might not impact a wide enough area in the north. It might hit central and southern Saskatchewan. We'll talk about that later on.
A 73-year-old woman has died following a crash this morning along Circle Drive. It happened near Laurier Drive at about 8 o'clock. Police say a black van merged onto Circle Drive and struck a white SUV, which then hit a pole. The driver of the van and a passenger in the SUV were not seriously injured. Traffic restrictions were in place for several hours while investigators were on scene, but were lifted mid-afternoon. A 35-year-old man has died following a crash in Humboldt. The collision happened Friday morning at about 11 o'clock at the intersection of 11th Avenue and Main Street. A car and an SUV were involved. Both drivers were taken to hospital. The driver of the car died of his injuries. The driver of the SUV suffered serious injuries. RCMP say before the crash, a conservation officer saw the car speeding through an intersection and tried to pull it over, but it sped away. The Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team was notified, but will not be investigating as it's outside of the team's mandate. The man who died was from Humboldt. Saskatoon police are looking for a vehicle believed to be connected to a homicide this spring. They've released this set of images of a vehicle on surveillance and a stock photo of the Lincoln MKZ they are looking for. Investigators believe the vehicle was in the area of Avenue B South and Spadina Crescent the evening of May 18th, where a 43-year-old man was stabbed. Police suspect the people in the vehicle may have information about the investigation. The Lincoln MKZ they are looking for is white and between the years 2013 and 2020. Anyone with information on the vehicle or the people in it should call police or Crime Stoppers. The family of a homicide victim is voicing frustration after a murder charge was stayed against a man accused in his death. 33-year-old Nicholas Bell died after being shot in an alleyway in the 2700 block of 21st Street West in December of 2023. 32-year-old Taylor Picoquat was originally charged with first-degree murder in Bell's death. Bell's sister posting to social media saying, quote, "We do not have justice for my brother. The system failed him and my family and everyone my brother knew." She adds the family has been, quote, "fighting for justice for the past year and 6 months." The Crown says it stayed the charge after reviewing the evidence and determining there is not a reasonable likelihood of conviction. The NDP is calling on the provincial government to improve how people are notified when an emergency room is closed in their area. It comes as it says there have been more than a dozen emergency room closures and service disruptions at rural hospitals since June.
The NDP says after looking through community Facebook pages, it found there have been temporary closures of emergency rooms or medical labs in at least 16 communities since the beginning of June. It says the provincial government needs to improve how it notifies the public.
They're deliberately hiding rural hospital closures from the people of Saskatchewan by not publicly notifying people of these closures.
NDP MLA Keith Jorgensen says people often find out about about emergency room closures through posted signs once they get to the hospital. He says all closures and service disruptions should be posted on the Saskatchewan Health Authority's website. He also suggests sending emergency alerts through cell phones if there is an emergency room closure in the area. Jorgensen is encouraging the public to tell the NDP about any emergency room closures and service disruptions so they can spread the word through social media posts and press releases.
And we, in turn, will notify the public of this closure in an attempt to keep people safe.
CTV News reached out to the Ministry of Health and the Saskatchewan Health Authority, but did not receive a response by broadcast. The SHA previously told CTV News it communicates short-term service disruptions through local social media platforms, saying the disruptions often occur with little notice, and utilizing existing local communication platforms is an effective way to reach the community quickly. It adds service disruptions lasting 7 days or more are posted on its website. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Construction has begun on a new affordable housing complex in Prince Albert. The lot on the corner of 1st Avenue West and 18th Street West will have 20 units and a common area. The YWCA will give priority to women transitioning from YWCA programs who are at risk of violence and homelessness. The YWCA Prince Albert committed $400,000 to the project. The City of Prince Albert is making a $30,000 contribution. The province and Government of Canada are jointly committing $3.7 million. Prince Albert's mayor says the new build is massively needed.
We look forward to continued success. We know that we certainly have a need to look at transitions from homelessness up the housing continuum.
Tenants will receive support services through the YWCA Prince Albert. It once served as a spot for English settlers and pioneers looking for new beginnings in Saskatchewan. The Cannington Manor Village, built in the 1800s and later abandoned, continues to tell the stories of the past through what is now an historic provincial site. Angela Stewart takes us on a tour.
Once home to a small and hopeful village, built by aristocratic newcomers, Cannington Manor promised new beginnings. Founded by Captain Edward Mitchell Pierce in 1882, this land was seen as the perfect place to lay roots in the Canadian West.
Him and his son Duncan came out to this area with the idea of homesteading, sort of saw this space, and it reminded him sort of the moors of where he grew up.
Fewer than 30 families lived in the village, but around 90 homesteads were spread throughout the area. As a result, Cannington Manor grew to include about 20 buildings, making it a major center for trade at the time.
They formed what's called the Moose Mountain Trading Company. Basically, this was a company town then. The company owned and operated a lot of the businesses or leased buildings out to people.
Workers like carpenters and blacksmiths would lease their buildings from the company, which eventually bankrolled the community and drew in even more prairie newcomers, some of them taking part in an agricultural training school here.
The idea being that young gentlemen, young bachelors would come out here, learn how to farm, and then apply for their own homesteads through the Homesteading Act.
But visions of the village's future quickly faded once the Canadian Pacific Railway built a branch line through neighboring communities, all but cutting off Cannington Manor from key trade routes in the early 1900s. More than 140 years later, only 2 of the original buildings remain, along with stone markings where the others once stood. But reconstructed sites and old photographs still bring the village to life. Only open to the public during the spring and summer months, Cannington Manor Provincial Historic Site will see between 3,000 and 5,000 visitors each year, with some discovering it for the first time.
Saw the sign, Cannington Manor, and I'd said to them that my daughter came here on one of her school field trips. I kind of knew it was a pioneering type village, because I was a history teacher, so I kind of knew a little bit, but not a ton.
Once here, guests step into the shoes of a pioneer, picking up some of their skills along the way.
We learned to make a rope, and we learned about the bachelor's cabin, I think is what it was. So, yeah, It's interesting. I like stuff like this.
The reason it is so tiny is because back in the day, it was very popular for women to curl the front wisps of their hair.
The site is open until August 23rd for guests. The village may be gone, but its memory lives on through the stories of people who took a risk in coming to Western Canada, one that didn't always pay off. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Cannington Manor Provincial Historic Site.
Still to come, can Canada secure a tariff-free trade deal with the U.S.? And recent wild weather is causing issues for the country's power grid. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. The Prime Minister is casting doubt today on Canada securing a tariff-free trade deal. It came as Mark Carney held a virtual emergency meeting with his inner circle to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's threat of 35% tariffs on all imports starting August 1st. Rachel Aiello explains.
I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month.
Staring down an August 1st deadline, today the Prime Minister convened a rare summer cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest 35% tariff threat. With the goalpost moved again, Carney lowered expectations that Canada can get a deal that would result in Trump dropping all tariffs, noting that so far no country has managed to secure a tariff-free trade agreement with the U.S.
It certainly comes off as a bit of a wake-up call.
It's an admission this lawyer, who used to litigate for Canada against the United States, says sends a clear signal to businesses.
If a baseline tariff does look like it's going to stick, then all of a sudden you can't operate in that environment forever, and you have to make real lasting decisions with respect to your customers and your suppliers.
Trump today sounded more optimistic about how talks are going.
We're negotiating with Canada right now, and we'll see how that all works out. I think it's going to work out very well.
This comes as data suggests Canadians are split on their confidence in Carney delivering a deal. New polling shows 63% of Canadians surveyed said they want the Prime Minister to push back and take a harder line in negotiations, while 37% prefer a softer approach.
Domestic confidence is going to be important. Carney needs to feel like he has a mandate from the people of Canada.
Carney campaigned on a promise to take on Trump with his elbows up. But since winning the election, even as the president has ratcheted up the trade war, Canada has not levied any new retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The cost of Donald Trump's tariffs are starting to show up in the price of goods Americans buy as inflation shot up south of the border last month to 2.7%. Canada also recorded an inflation increase to 1.9%. Not as high, but still enough to make it uncomfortable for Canadians. Abigail Beeman has more.
I bought it late, boy, and the price was very high.
The cost of living is definitely not equivalent to what like an entry-level job or even like a decent paying job.
Overall, new numbers from Statistics Canada show the consumer price index rose 1.9% year over year in June, and that's up from 1.7% in May. But important to note, when you take energy out of the equation, the number is much higher, 2.7%, and that's in part because of the removal of the carbon tax. Gas prices continue to be lower, though June's decline was smaller than in May. And of course, many people are focused on the cost of food. The good news for your grocery bill is food prices are increasing at a slower pace, largely driven by a decline in vegetable prices, specifically helped by cheaper onions and cucumbers. And car prices are up 4.1%. Used cars jumped 1.7%, and that's the first year-over-year increase in 18 months. Statistics Canada doesn't have much to say about the impact of U.S. tariffs, with some economists believing it may be too early to feel the impact.
If anything, that should be depressing prices because it's restricting our exports, that's weakening our markets, but I don't think that's having a big impact. We didn't levy counter tariffs on many things, and we've already pulled back on a number of them.
These numbers are the last look the Bank of Canada has at price data before the next interest rate decision that's coming July 30th. The key interest rate currently sits at 2.75%. Abigail Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
From extreme heat this summer to extreme cold in the winters, climate change is causing wild weather swings over the past few years. That's putting stress on our power grid. It comes with warnings that in the next 5 to 10 years, half of North America's population could be at risk of blackouts. With more, here is the newest recipient of the Sajidina CTV News Fellowship, Rukhsar Ali.
Extreme weather events have left thousands of Canadians without power, sometimes for weeks, and climate change could make it worse.
The grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
Between 2013 and 2023, Canada's 10 most significant weather events that impacted power grids caused about 20 million electricity interruptions to customers.
More shortfalls can occur during these extreme weather events, and it poses a serious concern for reliability.
A recent report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, found that most provinces were found to be increasingly vulnerable during extreme weather, putting them at risk of shortfalls. Nova Scotia, one of the most vulnerable.
We've had Hurricane Dorian, Hurricane Fiona, which is the biggest storm we've ever had in Nova Scotia. We had Hurricane Lee, we've had wildfires, floods, pretty much everything, and all of those have weakened the power system.
Utilities like this in the province are taking some future-proofing steps by swapping out older poles with stronger ones.
The lightning hits, and all of a sudden there is a short circuit.
At the University of Toronto's Grid Modernization Centre, Ali Hushiar and his team are running real-time simulations using super-powered computers to find solutions. One solution is smart technology. That includes sensors and software to communicate information along the grid, to make supply decisions faster and to minimize disruptions when the grid's under pressure. Climate change isn't the only factor putting pressure on the grid. So is increased demand, with more people using everything from electric vehicles to heat pumps.
We're going to need more wind, more solar, more hydro, more nuclear to be able to meet the challenges of the future.
And the artificial intelligence boom is another potential challenge. Massive amounts of electricity needed to run thousands of servers.
10 years ago, if we were told that 10 years later, one of your biggest challenges is going to be AI data centers, people would think that this is just science fiction.
The major challenge is meeting Canada's energy needs before demand outpaces progress. But with more frequent extreme weather events and more strain on the grid, that task is becoming more urgent. Rukhsar Ali, CTV News, Toronto.
Dramatic pictures now from the New York area and nearby New Jersey. Major rain led to extreme flooding. Floodwaters rushed through subway stations and trains, stranding passengers inside carriages. More than 2 inches of rain fell on Central Park in the span of a single hour. Flooding also swept away a car with 2 people inside in New Jersey, where the governor declared a state of emergency. 4 astronauts are back home after a return flight from the International Space Station. Their capsule splashed down of the Southern California coast today. The crew lifted off nearly 3 weeks ago on a private flight chartered by the Houston company Axiom Space. The first astronauts in more than 40 years from India, Poland, and Hungary conducted dozens of experiments aboard the orbiting lab. The last time the 3 countries put anyone in space was during the late 1970s and 80s. On this mission, they were joined by an experienced U.S. astronaut who served as commander.
He was saying things like, hey, don't touch that. What are you guys doing? Stop it. I'm in charge.
It's quite possible. You're in charge of the weather department, and you got a little bit mixed bag coming in.
Yeah, we really do. It's as we like to say, it's unsettled. As we go forward, we are going to see the chance of some rain, but temperatures are cooling off. And of course, our big concern is, where will this rain fall? Will it be in northern areas? Right now, it doesn't look promising, but keep our fingers crossed. 18 degrees in Saskatoon, 19 in Prince Albert, 18 in the Battlefords right now, and not particularly windy in all 3 locations. All 3 locations dealing right now with essentially moderate AQ index on the moderate part of the risk scale, but 18 degrees degrees is what our daytime high is. It's our current temperature. 25 is typical for this time of July. 37, the record warm temperature from well over a century ago, and the record cold temperature from 4 degrees. That was from 1918, and the sun's going to go down at 9:21.
Coming up, hitting the field in the holy grail of flag football. The Canadian team looks to win big in Ohio.
All right, welcome back. Well, we'll take a look through the live lens of Skycam. At 6 o'clock, the air quality index in Saskatoon is 5, and that is on the moderate part of the scale. I can tell you that in Prince Albert right now, well, I shouldn't say right now, the last recorded analysis was from 4 o'clock, and at that point it was low on the scale in Prince Albert. So those are the numbers we're dealing with from Environment Canada. Let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot here. And really, the core of the active weather has slid down into the United States. So most of the active weather across the northern plain states, ultimately making its way up through the Great Lakes region and into Ontario and Quebec. Could be some thunderstorms across parts of northern Ontario and parts of northern Quebec, but not much, fairly quiet across western Canada right now. Currently, it is still 18 degrees in Saskatoon, and the Battleford's 19 in Prince Albert. On to our hotspot, and that was Uranium City at 20 degrees. Key Lake, cold, 0 degrees, -4 to be exact. So a chilly day, chilly morning, I should say, in Key Lake. Temperatures are really quite consistent across Saskatchewan. We're not going to see much variation from what we see right now on the larger communities. So you can certainly see temperatures basically around that 17-degree mark, maybe a little warmer, maybe a little colder, but not by much. 20 degrees in Meadow Lake right now, but the coolest it gets on this part of our map is 16 in Kindersley. Most locations at 17 or 18 degrees. Up north, 21 in Stony Rapids, 20 in South End and Buffalo Narrows. Otherwise, high teens for northern areas. And down south, again, not much variation here. The coolest part on the map here is East End at 15 degrees. It warms up to 19 in Weyburn, but most locations at 17 or 18 degrees. So a fairly consistent temperature pattern across the bottom, top to bottom, side to side. Our futurecast, sort of a continuation of what we've had today, that active weather slides across Montana into the Dakotas. And then we do have something brewing up in the Elbow region on either side of the Rockies, but we are anticipating a much more robust low to come out of the northern areas of Alberta, and that will make its impact felt on Thursday. So we've got a mix of sky conditions with temperatures around 23 or 24 degrees tomorrow for northern Saskatchewan. A similar temperature pattern for west central Saskatchewan, mainly cloudy skies and about 23 degrees, around 22 for southwestern parts of the province under mainly cloudy skies, and temperatures of 21 degrees in Yorkton, Regina, and Moose Jaw, 1 degree cooler in Estevan, and basically around 22 degrees for east central Saskatchewan under mainly cloudy skies. So once again, an interesting temperature pattern that is consistent pretty much across the province. Less cloudy conditions tonight in the Battlefords, but the smoke will be hanging around. That includes tomorrow, 22 degrees. We don't expect it to be as nasty as it was earlier today, but a chance of some showers on Thursday. Friday, mainly sunny and 26, mainly cloudy on Saturday and 22, and then a bit of a cool down as rain moves in on Sunday. Good chance of showers and thunderstorms on Sunday and Monday, and Tuesday a chance of showers again, a high of just 17 degrees. For Prince Albert tonight, the air quality index expected to be on the moderate side of things. That lingers into tomorrow, not much in the way of wind, a high on Wednesday of 23 degrees, then 24 on Thursday, 26 on Friday and Saturday, but then we get into that rainy situation on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and Sunday and Monday come with a risk of a thunderstorm. And finally for Saskatoon and area, 6 degrees, winds out of the south at 10 tonight, less cloudy conditions. The air quality index expected to hang around that 6 mark, which is on the moderate risk part of the scale. And then tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies and the AQ index at 4, which again is still moderate on the scale. On to our Thursday afternoon. We're looking at Thursday, should say high of 22, but it comes with a chance of showers. Friday, mainly sunny and 26. 23 on Saturday with mainly cloudy skies. And then on Sunday, good chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm with a high of 22. 23 with a slight chance of showers on Monday. And then Tuesday, even chance of showers, 50% chance of showers, but a somewhat chilly 17 degrees.
Mr. Scout.
I know you're still waiting.
The Emmy Award nominations are out to honor this year's Best in Television, and the show Severance, an Apple TV original, is leading with 27 nominations. I just wrapped up season 2. The HBO original The Penguin lands in second place with 24 nominations, and Canadian Seth Rogen's The Studio and season 3 of The White Lotus snagged 23 nominations each. Original shows produced by streaming platforms such as Apple TV and Netflix are dominating the nominations. Beyonce has suffered a priceless theft during an Atlanta stop of her Cowboy Carter tour last week. Unreleased Beyonce music and tour set lists were stolen from an SUV rented by her team. Sensitive personal information belonging to the star singer was also stolen. Atlanta police have issued an arrest warrant for an unnamed suspect. Beyonce takes extreme measures to prevent new music leaking. She has yet to comment on the theft. And Dolly Parton says she's taking a break from writing new music to mourn the loss of Carl Dean, her husband of 60 years who died in March. That same month, she released a tribute to Dean, If You Hadn't Been There. Parton says she's wanted to start several things, but that she can't afford to get, quote, that emotional right now. But fans can hear the singer's biggest hits when she starts a 6-show residency in Las Vegas in December.
All right, Jeff, you've got an extra photo of the day.
We do. It's 4 pictures today. So let's start off with this one, though. This one comes us from Rhonda. These Saskatoons are very good, she writes. This bear joins us Saturday evening to enjoy some Saskatoon berries growing along the driveway, and this was taken up at Emma Lake. So, yes, Saskatoon berries, that's the right time of year. This comes to us from Brooklyn. Love this shot. This was from north of Prince Albert. Beautiful sunset off our old deck facing the dugout and fields. And that is a lovely shot, kind of a unique situation there, but a really beautiful shot there, flaring the lens. And we got a double hit from Jen Hepner here. Happy birthday to Karen Platts, our amazing mom and absolute best grandma in the whole world. Well, we say happy birthday as well. And then next one, here we go, also from Jen. Yeah, happiest birthday to our favorite BC auntie, Randy. We love you to bits and are so happy you made the big trek home from Victoria with Winston. And Jen also told us that Winston turned 2 on Sunday. So happy birthday to all 3. And if you'd like to send us an image with a birthday greeting or a sunset or something like that, you can certainly do that by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, how the Riders' defense plans on bouncing back. But up next, potential future CFLers represent Canada on the international stage. The Saskatchewan flag football program has been quite the success story. 2 years ago, it was named the League of the Year by the NFL Flag League, the first non-American program to be honored. This year, a team of 15 and under boys are headed to Canton, Ohio to represent Canada. Damian Smith has their story.
It's been a great year for the 15U Raiders, a flag football team cruising their way through the season.
I think our team's pretty good, so I don't know if we'll lose.
Going 7-1 in the regular season, the only game they lost was a forfeit due to a lack of players.
Well, we're probably going to lose maybe once, but, you know, it's going to happen eventually. We're ready for that, though.
A lack of players is not a concern this week as the team travels to represent Canada on the international stage. 10 players and 2 coaches are heading to Canton, Ohio, the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to compete against some of the top flag football teams in the world.
I guess we played against the teams, the same kids, like every year, so I guess we know what's coming. But like internationally, it's different competition every single year. Like how Puerto Rico, that's a really new team, and we played against teams like Mexico before, so competition-wise will be way different.
This is the third year in a row that the Raiders have had the chance to compete internationally, going to Las Vegas in 2023 and Orlando in 2024. The group has grown up together, developing chemistry throughout the years.
Week in and week out through practices and just through gameplay, the boys have just gotten better and better. They're really dialed in and they really understand what we're trying to do. And so what we've been able to focus on are just the finer points, just angles, viewpoints, releases, all those things. And they've really come to accept that and grow and take in the coaching.
Their competition includes teams from all around the world, representing countries like Australia, Brazil, and China. The tournament starts Thursday, with the final game taking place on Sunday afternoon. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
When we come back, the riders look to turn things around. Then it appears a mystery is afoot. We'll explain.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. So right now, it looks like air quality indexes will be improving in the sense that tomorrow may be low and moderate for areas in central and southern Saskatchewan, but that has been changing, so just to keep that in mind. We've got ourselves mainly cloudy skies, and as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a fairly consistent temperature pattern across all of Saskatchewan. As we can see right here, 21, 22 degrees, mainly cloudy skies. That's pretty much the real deal. And then as we make our way into southern Saskatchewan, doesn't change all that much. A little cooler down around the international border, 18 degrees in East End, 19 in Rockland, and in Carlisle and Broadview, but a lot of other places in and around that 21-degree mark. So not much variation there. Mainly cloudy skies throughout the region. Does that include Grenfell? Yes, it does. Light and variable winds, so not much wind to talk about. 20 degrees tomorrow for a daytime high with mainly cloudy skies, so a relatively pleasant day shaping up in Grenfell, albeit on the cool side of seasonal. And Grenfell is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Greetings, everyone. For decades, Nutrien has been working with their Indigenous neighbors to ensure fruitful business opportunities. Now the potash giant is announcing a major milestone in community engagement. Here's John Flatters with more on the relationships built over the years and the scope of the investment.
Potash giant Nutrien says late last year it surpassed the target of $1 billion in spending with Indigenous companies since 2020.
It's part of that, actually, going back to 2020 when we set that goal of 25 by 25. This is us reaching that goal actually ahead of time.
It's part of a long-term commitment the company made called 25 by 25, aiming to boost its potash spending with Indigenous companies.
When we think about that and we talk about our Indigenous spend, it's really about locally owned companies with Indigenous 50% ownership, and then also companies and suppliers that simply have 15% employment or more.
Nutrien says the majority of spending comes from construction suppliers and manufacturing, but it took a lot of effort and working with companies to supply the things that Nutrien needs to procure.
Without them making those shifts, without our Indigenous owned companies making the shifts and growing and maybe shifting a little bit, this wouldn't be possible. So it's really about all of the partners coming together to have an impact on the Indigenous community in the spend in the province, all in the name of economic reconciliation.
Nutrien says since the target was set, there's been an evolution of Indigenous business in Saskatchewan.
We started with probably around 5 or 6 Indigenous companies. Since that target was set, we're now at 50 plus. So you can see that the growth of those Indigenous companies here in Saskatchewan is already exponential, and we consider that going forward as well.
Riston says it's a sign of 2 worldviews coming together.
To me, it means that we have a future that's shared going forward. So it's important that when we think about what we do in this space, how we're innovative, how we're safe, there's a lot that can come out of Indigenous worldview that can actually help us be more sustainable, understand our future, have generational thinking, as well as be productive and profitable.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm John Flatters.
If you have a story you would like to see in this segment, here's how to reach us. You can contact me by email, and you can also watch past episodes and segments of Indigenous Circle on our CTV Regina and CTV Saskatoon websites.
Indigenous Circle, brought to you in part by Saskatchewan Indigenous Enterprise Foundation, growing the First Nation entrepreneurial spirit.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders defense had its worst outing of the season on the weekend, giving up more than 500 yards of total offense to the Calgary Stampeders. As Jacob Carr tells us, the unit feels they can get back to their identity this week in BC.
They start on the 39. VA over the middle, intercepted in midfield.
After this A.J. Allen interception on Calgary's first offensive play from scrimmage, it looked like the Riders' defense might be in for a great day. But moments like that were few and far between in a 24-10 loss to the Stampeders. C.J. Rivas was able to force a turnover of his own as well, but says the team did not play to its identity on Saturday.
I think, we're very physical as a team, group defense especially. I think we didn't play physical at all Saturday. We got out-bullied, we got outmatched physically, I think, for sure. So I think we got punched in the mouth, you know what I'm saying? It happens, you can't win them all.
In Saskatchewan's first loss of the regular season, Corey Mace's defensive unit gave up over 425 yards through the air to Vernon Adams Jr. He says a good wake-up call like this early in the season isn't necessarily a bad thing.
That deflated, I think, I don't want to say our ego, but guys, that one was tough for everybody to kind of swallow. But it's early in the year. You kind of want to get that out the way.
The Riders held a padded practice on Tuesday as they prepare for their next game against the BC Lions. Corey Mace remained mute when asked if that was a result of Saturday's performance, but his players seemed to like the ramp-up of intensity.
That's why you got the pads on today, man. You're trying to get that identity back and kind of remember who you were. Remember what the compete level needs to be like on a daily basis, weekly basis when game day comes, right? So you get it back, but yeah, getting back to the basics, just getting back to who you are.
The Saskatchewan defense has 3 more days to prepare for another dual-threat quarterback in the BC Lions, Nathan Rourke, whom they'll face this Saturday night in Vancouver. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
The Hudson's Bay hearing today to save a deal that saw it sell some of its leases was adjourned after a BC billionaire businesswoman showed up without a lawyer. One of the Bay's biggest financial lenders was set to ask the courts to end the sale of company leases to Ruby Liu, but it was interrupted when she appeared with no materials or lawyer. The judge strongly recommended that Liu hire a lawyer. The Bay maintains the deal is the best shot it has at paying back its creditors. Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon is $1.34 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.23.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $103.99 and Nutrien dropped $1.27. Coming up, a surreal shoe discovery in some ancient ruins. And forget cleaning or building, robots now playing sports.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us for another great night of television coming up right here on CTV. It's all starting at 7 o'clock tonight. Well, it appears a mystery is afoot. This after the surreal discovery of a stash of unusually large shoes at the ruins of an ancient Roman fort in the UK. Researchers unearthed 34 shoes in the remains of a stone barrier during a recent dig in northern England. While most of the discovered shoes were of average size 8, were larger than the equivalent of a men's size 13. Researchers suspect the colossal kicks may have belonged to unusually tall or large troops who guarded the Roman fortress.
Wow, they guessed that guys with big feet were tall? Wow, what a scientific breakthrough.
Well, their discovery is pretty cool.
It is a cool stuff, but yeah, okay.
All right, this is neat.
Either that or clowns. Did they not think about that? Roman clowns.
I'm sure they'll follow up on that research. Yeah. All right, well, we know robots have been tasked with all sorts of things like cleaning and doing manual labor, but what about playing soccer?
China
has launched its first robot soccer league. These AI-controlled robots have the skills of, they say, about a 5-year-old child. Okay. Their abilities are expected to increase over time and will eventually play against humans, but I think they're better than 5-year-olds.
Well,
especially that one.
Yeah, when he's learning to flop.
Yeah.
It's a key skill set to have in soccer.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There's a goal. So,
but yes, you know, AI, they learn as they go. And so, yes, they could become formidable. All right. Formidable temperatures, not so much, but we're going to talk about the AQ index quickly here. As we anticipate overnight, things are actually going to be relatively clear. The AQ index right now is on the moderate side here in Saskatoon, and the air quality is going to improve overnight. It'll be pretty much good until the latter part of the afternoon when it might return to the moderate side of the scale in terms of risk.
Yeah.
So
it's looking like it's probably going to be feeling a little cooler tomorrow.
Yes, once again, with even just that little sheen of smoke, it makes a big difference.
It does. All right, there it is. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Bye now.